Hi everyone, welcome to Faithfully Book. My name is Tuto Missing and a very big welcome. So you can just go ahead to like this video, subscribe to the channel and share to a friend or 10. And let's just get into it. Today we're going to be looking at why I ran away from Wattpad. Why exactly I ran away from Wattpad. So just come and get the full tea, get the full gist about why I actually left Wattpad. You know, I had about 300 plus followers on Wattpad and everything, and I had spent like 5 years plus on Wattpad, more than that honestly, and all of that. So why exactly did okay, so for people that do not actually know, Wattpad is an online reading platform. Online, it's an app basically. There's the web version definitely, and there's also the app, right? So it's a platform where readers can read books. They have access to millions of books, and it's also a platform where people that also want to write can actually publish their books on Wattpad for people to read, right? There are paid stories, there are free stories. So actually on Wattpad you can get monetized, you can actually get paid for writing, and that's really beautiful. That's amazing, right? And everything. So I actually joined Wattpad very early on. I'm not even going to say the age because yeah, so I got I got exposed to Wattpad. I got introduced to Wattpad really early and everything. I got exposed to the millions of books on Wattpad, the amazing people on Wattpad, and an amazing experience. I got to read, I got to write, I got to volunteer. It was just amazing and it really helped me. But there are also negative sides to it, there are also downsides. So that's just what we're going to be discussing in this video. So let's just go. So first off, let's just get into the positives and the things I actually enjoyed. Like I said, you know, that opportunity to actually volunteer on Wattpad, I was able to join communities, and in these communities I was able to serve as an editor. I worked with quite a number of communities. I edited books, I reviewed books, I judged for competitions. So this even allowed me to take note of certain things, of the intricacies and details of writing, what actually makes for good writing to a certain level, right? And it also helped me to also brush up on my own writing skills. So on Wattpad I was able to write books, I was able to share, you know, my thoughts, my ideas, my own write-ups with the public and everything. So people were able to read, people were able to give me feedback, people were able to, there was just that sense of community, right? I had readers that were reading my books and you know, getting back to me, oh, I enjoyed this, and all of that kind of stuff, right? So on Wattpad I was actually able to write, and that was really amazing and everything. And another thing on Wattpad was that I got to interact with a whole lot of people, because it's not every day that I get to interact with, let's say, an Asian person, but you know, on Wattpad that was something that I could do, you know, frequently. Occasionally I could engage with people from all over the world. I know we can do that on Instagram and all of that, but that's besides the way. Anyways, so I could do that. And what brought us together was the topic of books. What brought us together was reading. What brought us together was Wattpad, right? So that was really amazing. I got to interact with a whole lot of people. I got to interact with amazing writers. I got to join communities, had a good time, you know, a good time relatively, and all of that, right? So those were just some things that Wattpad actually did for me. Those were some of the benefits, and I believe I touched on that in the prior video, which is the benefits of reading videos. So if you've not checked it out, why are you here? So you know, after this video you can just go back there and actually, you know, check out the benefits of reading videos, so you can actually be stimulated and encouraged to actually pick up that book. Okay, so let's just get right into the negatives, right? Let's get right into the negatives. Also, another positive of that was that I got to read a whole lot of interesting books. Like, I can't even stress this enough. I got to read a whole lot of interesting books. Like, I don't even know the number of books. Like, I got to read a whole lot of books. Like, a whole lot of books. Like, it was just such a user-friendly app, a reader-friendly app. Anybody could at any time just read any book. You see a book, oh, it seems interesting to you, you get it, and you're on the next, you're just reading, and it's just so interesting and just so amazing. So I could read a whole lot of books, and it was really amazing. Nigerian books that I could relate with, books that I could not relate with, to books from other worlds, books from other universes, you know, all of that kind of stuff. It even helped my knowledge and everything. It just really helped me. I got exposed to writing styles, got exposed to more vocabulary, more, and different things basically, right? And I discussed that in benefits of reading videos, so just check that out. So let's just quickly move into the negatives. Why exactly did I leave Wattpad? Why did I run away from Wattpad? What were the horrors? What were the, the bad sides of it? Okay, so like I said, I actually joined Wattpad really early on and everything. So Wattpad is a platform, or was a platform that, a lot of content was available, a lot of books were actually available. So this availability, there was good to it and there was bad to it, right? And the bad thing about it was that not all of that content is good. Not all of that content is edifying. Not all of that content is adding value to us. And here I faithfully booked. Our mission, my mission, is to actually provide and push an audience of to actually push a collection of valuable books. Because why am I reading something that is not helping me? Why am I reading something that is not making me better? Why am I reading something that is not adding value to me? Like, what is the point? What is the point? These are questions we should start asking ourselves. When next you actually want to pick that book, think about it. Why am I reading this book? Actually go into the book with a question that you actually want to be answered. This is something I've heard from about 2 people now, and something that I would like to actually start trying out. Go into that book with a question that must be answered at the end of the book. Are we following still? That's great. Oh, okay. So there was such an availability of content, hundreds of books. Like, my library would be entering 100 plus books. Well, that was before they introduced all this 5 books, 2 books and everything. So that even helped me to even leave the app and everything. So another thing was that there was such an ease of publishing, and that's a good thing, because I also got to publish and everything. And even still today, well, not really recently, but even till recently, right? Even till recently, I still use the writing interface. Would I say interface? I still use the writing interface because it's really nice and smooth and everything, right? So there's such an ease of publishing, right, and everything. So that just facilitates, and it actually allows people that, okay, they come up with an idea and they bring it out, and everybody's seeing it on Wattpad, and anybody can just read it, right? And the restrictions are not strict. The restrictions are not really there, right? I think you can just indicate whether this book is 18, rated 18 or something, right? But do you think that a curious teenager, or a curious, young child is going to actually, look at the 18 and allow that to stop them? I was there, so I would know, right, and everything. Well, basically, it's like when you're watching a show and you see that, okay, this show is actually rated 18, you still go ahead to watch it. Rated 16, rated 13, PG-13, all those things, you still go ahead to watch it. You just go ahead to watch it. So the same thing on Wattpad. Wattpad houses, I'm not so recent. Is it recent? I'm not so current, rather. I'm not so current with Wattpad and everything. But I still believe so, that Wattpad houses so many people, and majority of those people being teenagers, majority of those people being young children and everything. And when young children and teenagers are being exposed to, things that are not helping them, this is just, their foundation is being built, right? The foundation for the rest of their lives is being built. And when they're being introduced and exposed to, ungodly themes, ungodly themes, right? There are just a whole lot of things on Wattpad, a whole lot of things from horror, erotic, car, all these things and everything in between are present on Wattpad, right? So these are things that, if you are not careful, these things begin to build up in your mind and everything. And we know that what we actually take into our mind is actually what will flow out of us, even in line with Proverbs 4:23. Proverbs 4:23 actually tells us that we should guard our hearts with all diligence, because it is from our hearts that the issues of life actually spring forth. It is from our hearts that the issues of life actually flow. So the thing about Wattpad is it just puts out there a whole lot of content, right? And if you are not careful, these things are what you take in, and eventually they flow out of you, right? These are the things that you start thinking about. These are the things that start occupying your mind. I'll just be in class or something and be thinking about books, right? Not necessarily bad books, right? But in class, thinking about books and everything, even till today, and everything. So this is just something about Wattpad, right? So as Christians, we actually have the responsibility to guard our hearts with all diligence, right? To actually guard our hearts with all diligence, which actually means that we should actually, guard the books we read. guard the movies we watch, guard the music we actually listen to. It is our responsibility, as seen in the Bible verse that I said, right, and everything. So we actually need to guard our hearts, because there's a whole lot of content out there, right? And the people that are creating this content, they are not thinking about our progress necessarily. They're not thinking, it's not everybody that is thinking about, okay, how can I help user XYZ? Do you understand? Okay, so basically, if you see me reading Wattpad tomorrow anyways, don't actually judge me. You know, I might actually be reading something that is actually good. They actually happen to be good content on Wattpad. So what we should actually be doing, right, because I'm still on Wattpad, what we should actually be doing is, you know, with the help of the Holy Spirit, if God actually leads us to do so, what we should be doing is we should be flooding Wattpad with godly content. We should be flooding Wattpad with valuable content. We should not be running away from Wattpad necessarily, right? Because there are people out there who is going to help those people, right? Those people are reading all sorts of things. Children, teenagers, they are reading all sorts of things. Like, do you guys really understand? Like, there's just a whole lot. Rated 18 contents, rated 100 contents, a whole lot of things on Wattpad, right? And we need to actually help the people that are still trapped in this cycle. Do you understand? There are millions of people on Wattpad. There are millions of people that are, you know, feeding their minds with this kind of dirty, ungodly content. So what we should be doing is flooding that kind of platform with light, with godly content, right? And if they keep on being exposed to it, right, without an alternative, that's why Faithfully Booked is actually here to provide and push and create awareness about an alternative. So yeah, so actually on Wattpad, there actually happen to be some good content, right? There's a community that I know about, which is She Flourishes. I'm just going to put, in case you're on Wattpad and everything, She Flourishes community. And basically their vision is to see young girls and women flourish in who God has called them to be and what he has called them to. She Flourishes actually does that through books and messages. They have a number of books, and they also post uplifting messages on the community board, on the message board, and this way they're actually reaching out to people on Wattpad, right? Okay, and there's also, you know, some clean content, right? One of this is the Post Rewind and Fast Forward series, a trilogy by CJ Adler, right? And there's also the Celestial Academy series by my lovely writer. My goodness, oh my goodness, this series, bro, I'm sorry for saying bro, this series, it's a fantasy series, by the way. I think if you watched a history of reading, right, you would have heard a little bit about me and fantasy, right? But this series was mind-blowing. I totally enjoyed reading this series, and it's kind of clean, but it actually dabbles in demons, magic, is it magic, demons, magic, and all of that kind of stuff. But I totally enjoyed this reading. I totally enjoyed this series, right? And I think it consists of 6 books: Knight, Legend, Orison, War Song, Cosmos, and Chevalier. I totally enjoyed reading this series. It was so amazing. This Celestial Academy series, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like, honestly, I enjoyed the Celestial Academy series. So probably maybe I'll just do a review on that one day. So stay expectant, anticipate, right? Stay tuned to this channel. So if you've come this far and you have not liked the video, why? You've not subscribed to the channel, why? You've not shared this, I understand that one, but please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share. Yes, okay, and like, I think. Okay, so basically at the end of the day, it's not really me running away from Wattpad. I didn't really run away from Wattpad, but it was actually more like God was actually winning me, right? It was removing my dependency off of Wattpad, because I could spend hours, I could spend so much time, so much energy in is it invested? Yes, I could direct so much time and energy into that app and everything. And you know, if I continue that way, or maybe it was already becoming an idol, if I continue that way, you know, it would eventually become an idol for me and not really help my walk with God, my Christian experience and everything, right, like that. So, you know, it was just the mercy of God, right? I just attribute it all to the mercy of God, that I'm actually free. I don't have to read these books, right? Because would I actually imagine, let's say my 13-year-old self, would I have actually imagined that, okay, one day I'll not be reading Wattpad? No, it would not have even seemed like that to me at all. But I just, give all the thanks to God. And I just want to encourage you that you can actually make it there, right? Because, God wants the best for you. God actually wants the best for you. So just keep working with God, because when we walk with God, things shed off. And that has just been my experience over time. And I'm sure that many other Christians can tell you the same, that, okay, they used to listen to this sort of music before, but as they walked with God, they stopped liking it, because, I think one of the things about our walk with God is that, the miracle of changed desires. There are things you wanted to do before, you don't want to do them anymore. So that's just it. So thank you for watching. Please stay blessed. I don't know.